In fact, ladies and gentlemen, I also caught up with Amazon's Vice President Abhinav Singh. He also talks about the enhanced delivery speed through their 45 newly launched stations. He also talks about the kind of demand that the company is expecting ahead of the festive season. Let's listen in.
We're really excited. Every year we try to make sure that our customers and sellers have the best possible Great Indian Festival in terms of the widest selection, the fastest speeds, and our sellers can offer the best prices to our customers. And there's nothing different this year. Additionally, we really welcome the government's decision on the GST reforms. We think that that's a really timely reform for our customers and our sellers to be able to avail the best possible deals right in time. So we are expecting our customers to shop, and we are getting ready for it, especially across the operations network. We've ramped up our infrastructure. We've hired more than 1.5 lakh people in our fulfillment and delivery networks. And all of them are all set, ready, and excited for the Great Indian Festival.
Absolutely. And since you talk about expansion and the fact that, there has been an infrastructure expansion by Amazon as well, let me take you back a couple of months back when Amazon announced the 2,000 crores worth of investment in operations. How is that coming along, and what are your priorities as far as deploying that capital is concerned?
Yes, so we have very meticulously over the last year, like every year since we launched, expanded our infrastructure. We are very proud that we have an industry-leading infrastructure in India. Just in the lead up to this Diwali, you spoke about the 2,000 crore investment. That's gone towards building 12 fulfillment centers, 6 sort centers. To put them in perspective, that's capacity which, if you put 12 Olympic-sized swimming pools together, that's the kind of square footage that we are talking about. But today, I'm really excited to talk to you about 45 new delivery stations that we have launched in smaller cities like Latur, Raebareli, Hubli, and other such cities, which will enhance the speed of delivery to these cities. So customers across India can avail fast shipping, and they don't have to be in the big metro cities. Right. I mean, our goal since we launched in India has been to get the widest possible selection at the fastest possible speed to every single Indian. And this infrastructure that you spoke about, the 2,000 crores, goes in making sure that that happens. So we're really excited, and all of that money is going towards getting customers, safer and faster speeds at higher reliability and a safe working environment for every single associate who works with us.
Right. All right, let's move on and take a look at some other stories that are coming up on the show. Well, a new bill, the Halting International Relocation of Employment Act, or HIRE Act, has been introduced in the Senate. It proposes a 25% tax on certain payments U.S. taxpayers that make to foreign persons for services that benefit U.S. consumers. But how is it going to impact the IT ecosystem? Sajith Mangath is here with a detailed analysis on the likely impact.
The only outlier there was the Nifty IT, which fell last week, actually, 1.5% there. And that's primarily because there are murmurs now that there could be tax, Trump put services tax. There's already, if you look at Senator Bernie Moreno's bill, which is there, it's called the Halting Relocation of Employment Act, or HIRE Act, which is there. And it creates a 25% tax on outsourcing payments. It creates domestic workforce fund to collect any money raised from the outsourcing tax, and it prohibits companies from deducting any outsourcing payment, which basically means that U.S. clients, will now start paying a tax if they are outsourcing a part of their work to any country outside the U.S.
So it's basically that should set the cat amongst the pigeon for Indian IT services.
So Indian IT services, if you look at 50 to 60% of their revenues come from there. So it's basically a 25% cost increase, which is it's just like a tariff which comes into play for services from that point of view. It's been tabled in the Senate. We don't know whether it gets passed or not, but it's still a caution or red flag which comes into play, saying that it's going to be negative for Indian IT companies going forward, who are working very closely with US clients overseas there.
All right, so it remains to be seen whether that bill will get passed by the Senate or not. It's been put in to the Senate. Remember, these similar moves have been made in the past as well on taxing outsourcing services, but it remains to be seen whether it gets passed or not, or this is just a rhetorical move that's been made by the U.S. administration. But let's take a look at the last story on the show before we wrap up this edition of Startup Central. While EchoStar has agreed to sell its AWS-4 and H-Block spectrum licenses to SpaceX, in a deal worth around $17 billion, which is split up between $8.5 billion in cash and up to $8.5 billion in SpaceX's stock. As part of the deal, SpaceX will be covering about $2 billion in EchoStar's interest payments through November 2027. And with AWS-4 and H-Block spectrum licenses, SpaceX will develop and deploy a next-generation Starlink direct-to-cell constellation. So lots of interesting developments that are happening as far as the tech and space technology ecosystem is concerned, and that's the latest that we have for you. EchoStar, SpaceX joining hands. On that note, ladies and gentlemen, it's time for us to close this edition of Startup Central. Hope you liked watching the show as much as we did putting it together for you. From me and the entire team, goodbye and thank you very much for watching.